7 bone-chilling thunderstorm horror stories that haunt you when alone at midnight. The air crackled as the storm rolled in, a bone-chilling howl reaching through the night. Lightning split the sky, illuminating a twisted figure standing in the shadows. This wasn't just any storm. This was a herald of nightmares waiting to unfold, a tempest that brought with it whispers of terror and tales that would keep you waking in a cold sweat. Every crack of thunder echoed like a scream, pounding against your chest. What secrets did the wind carry? What horrors lurked just out of sight, waiting to leap from the shadows? The first strange element caught your attention instantly. It was a peculiar, ghostly light dancing in the distance. They called it the phantom glow. Many claimed it was just a weather phenomenon, but the locals knew better. It was the restless spirits of the lost. Rumor had it that if you followed the light, you'd find yourself lost forever in the clutches of the storm. And there were recorded sightings of people who had vanished without a trace. A tightness crept into your chest at the thought. It felt as if the night itself was alive, watching, waiting to ensnare its next victim. Then came the old stories. Tales of how, on stormy nights like this one, the eyes of the drowned would appear in the rain, pleading for help or perhaps demanding revenge. Everyone in town had felt the watchful gaze, felt the tremors of fear. The thunder roared as if in response, shaking the very ground beneath their feet. Against the pouring rain, whispers of conspiracy circled like vultures. Those who knew of hidden places, doors that shouldn't be opened, spells that shouldn't have been cast. The very air felt thick with secrets and unease. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. When lightning crackled so close it seemed to kiss the roof, a scream ripped through the air. It wasn't just the thunder this time. It was something else, something real. The night turned electric with tension. Shadows twisted and swirled in the corners of your vision. Were they mere tricks of the storm? Or were they the dark souls, shrouded in fury, emerging from the depths? Just as the storm reached its peak, in the heart of the fog, a figure appeared, a woman cloaked in tattered rags, drenched but eerily calm. Was she lost, or had she come to reclaim what was taken? The heart raced as she turned, her face half hidden under the brim of her worn hat. An unnerving silence fell, broken only by the rain's relentless patter. And in that stillness, one question rang out louder than the storm: what did she want? Something deep inside you stirred, a gut feeling that would not let go. You had to know, you had to find out what her intention was. And with that thought, where this storm would lead you next melted into the chilling promise of an unseen dawn. The woman's eyes glinted like shards of glass as she stepped forward, her silhouette twisting with the lightning's flash. A chill raced down your spine. She raised a trembling hand, fingers outstretched, beckoning you closer, as if she could sense the magnetic pull of your curiosity. The world around you faded, the storm pressing in tighter, drowning out the chaos of nature with an eerie stillness. Fear clawed at you. Was she a lost spirit? A harbinger of doom? You hesitated, caught between the instinct to flee and the unnerving urge to step into the abyss of her mystery. The rain drummed harder, an unrelenting cadence, amplifying the tension. "Help me," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the tumult. The words slithered into your ears, making your heart race. This wasn't an ordinary request, it bore the weight of desperation, a haunting note wrapped in sorrow. You felt the suffocating grip of dread around your chest, but what if she was as lost as the countless souls whispered about in town? The phantom glow flickered in the distance, swaying like a lost ship through the storm. The thought of it, of following that light to uncover its secrets, tugged at you. But this woman, what if she was the key to understanding it all? Please, the plea rose, a crystalline echo among the snarling wind and thunder. They want you to leave, don't follow the light. Her eyes, dark pools of torment, locked onto yours. A new fear gripped you. Could this be a warning? Or was it an invitation into realms unknown? The thunder cracked above, almost as if in agreement, sending another shock through your bones. What do you know? You found yourself asking, voice quaking against the storm's raging backdrop. They come for those who seek the truth, she said, stepping closer, now so near that you could smell the damp earth clinging to her rags. Once you're caught in their web, there's no escaping. Your thoughts raced. The stories echoed back, lost souls whispering in the dark, vengeful spirits lingering by the shores, their eyes glistening like glassy stones in the storm. Were you truly willing to listen? The storm. It's not just a storm, she continued, eyes flaring with an emotion that felt both thrilling and terrifying. It's a doorway. Each word cut like jagged ice, heart racing as the pieces clicked into place. That doorway could lead to salvation or doom. Lightning split the sky once more, and in that moment, the air thickened, a pressure building around you as if the storm itself recognized what was to come. The cloaked woman's gaze bore into yours, unyielding and fierce. You could feel time slowing, each heartbeat a countdown to an unknown fate. Suddenly, the earth trembled beneath your feet, sending you stumbling backward. Panic surged. A flash from the glowing light beckoned you again, stronger than before. You were on the brink of a decision that could change everything. With a last look at the woman, you took a breath. What's behind the door? You whispered, your heart hammering against your ribs. Everything you fear, she replied cryptically, her voice drowned out by a deafening roll of thunder that shook the very ground. And with that, a breaking wave of wind swept through, obscuring her figure as the storm roared louder. What would you choose? The glow, or the warning of the woman? The options weighed heavy like a noose around your neck, pushing you closer to a precipice where the darkness seemed to invite you in. In the chaos, one thought echoed, would you risk it all to discover the truth, the heart of this nightmare? As the storm howled, the last shred of stability vanished beneath your feet, and then, silence. What would happen if you chose the light? Would it lead you to freedom or a fate worse than death? The question lingered in the air, as thick as the mist that now enveloped everything. You stumbled backward, your heart pounding against your ribcage like a caged animal desperate to escape. The storm raged around you, wind howling like 1,000 lost souls searching for something they could never find. In that instantaneous flicker of doubt, the woman's figure wavered, distorted by the heavy sheets of rain that battered the earth. Choose. She screamed, her words wrenching through the air, slicing against the thunder's roar. The intensity of her gaze burned into your skin, as if she possessed the power to read your very soul. Behind her, the glowing light pulsed and shifted, alive with a promise that sent chills cascading down your spine. It danced just beyond your reach, teasing, taunting, a siren call in a stormy night. For a split second, you hesitated. What did you fear more? The ethereal glow that whispered sweetly of the truths hidden in the shadows, or the woman who stood before you, a specter trapped between two worlds, desperate to be heard? The ground trembled again, the undercurrents of the earth shaking your resolve. What is behind the light? You forced out, voice trembling under the weight of the storm's anger. The revelations will change you. She cried, her features swimming in and out of clarity. But they will also destroy you. With each word, gravity pulled you further toward the glow, the curiosity gnawing at your insides. It felt almost alive, a force of nature yearning for connection. This storm, it was more than just water and wind, it was a living entity thrumming with energy. I can help you. She shouted, grasping your arm with unexpected strength. You felt her icy fingers weave into your skin, penetrating deeper than mere touch, awakening aches and fears long buried. Emotional floodgates burst, memories of darkness and loss spiraled to the surface. Look inside you. She urged, her voice softer now, a haunting lullaby forming amidst the chaos. What do you truly seek? A moment of clarity hit you like lightning. The answers you chased had planted seeds of obsession in your heart. Was it truth, or was it power you craved? Was that faint glow a promise or a trap waiting to ensnare you? But just as you began to understand, the air thickened with desperation. An unnatural wind surged through the clearing, whipping hair into your face, carrying voices, whispers braiding themselves into the tempest. Don't listen to her. They chanted, a disjointed chorus that filled the air with dread. Follow the light. Follow the truth. Your instincts screamed at you to run. But who would you flee from? The flickering fabric of light that seemed to weave through your very bones? Or the woman, who felt like a tangible part of the storm, her tormented eyes reflecting some deep truth you couldn't yet grasp? In the cacophony of claims and accusations, panic surged anew. The apprehension surged once more. Would you push through toward the light or retreat into the darkness with this shadowed figure? Without realizing why, you took a step forward, thirsting for answers, for clarity. But in that calculated movement, the earth shifted beneath your feet, startling you, relief and terror clawing at your insides. What happens to those who get lost in the truth? You shouted, desperation leaking from your voice. Her eyes widened, and in that moment, a strange understanding settled between you. Truth demands a price and not all can pay. Just then, the storm reached its climactic fury, thunder cracking deafeningly, swirling around you like demonic laughter. The wind screamed in agony, and with a mighty flash of lightning, a vision exploded before your eyes. You were standing at the edge of a precipice, endless darkness above, unearthly light below. You realized this choice would not only uncover the truth but could also seal your fate forever. With breath held tight in your chest, you stared into the tempest. What lay beyond the chaos? Was the truth worth the price? Could you step into the light and leave the nightmare behind? As the flash faded, leaving you suspended between realms, the woman's voice echoed your choice nears. The time will come when the storm reveals its secrets, and then, before you could question her further, the woman faded into the shadows, leaving you alone with the tumult and electric pulse of unknown destiny igniting your being. What would you discover if you dared to cross that line into the glow? Or was it bound to awaken horrors you couldn't fathom? As the tempest rampaged, your heart raced, caught between two worlds, and the harrowing weight between choices hung heavy in the air. The swirling chaos of the storm blurred everything around you. Rain lashed at your face, each drop like a needle prick, biting into your skin. You felt weightless, adrift in a disorienting sea of noise and fury. The light, a beacon of hope or doom, still pulsed ahead. It seemed to be alive, almost beckoning you to step forward, to answer the call of destiny, but the woman's words echoed in your mind, a chilling reminder: truth demands a price and not all can pay. What if the light hid horrors you couldn't imagine? What if the knowledge it offered ripped apart the very fabric of who you were? You clenched your teeth, heart hammering wildly as you battled the tumult in your mind. An urgent tremor rippled through the air as if the universe itself held its breath in anticipation. And then, it happened. The ground beneath you shuddered again, the earth groaning as if awakening from a deep slumber. You stumbled, arms flailing as you fought to keep your balance. Just as you steadied yourself, a crack of lightning split the sky, illuminating the darkness for a fleeting moment. In that blinding flash, you caught a glimpse of something, figures in the shadows, watching. Their faces were obscured, but the weight of their eyes bore down on you like an oppressive mantle. Were they souls caught between realms? Or perhaps remnants of those who had ventured into the light before? The thought ignited a primal fear, a terror that roots deep and refuses to let go. Help me! You cried out, voice nearly lost in the howl of the wind. But the storm roared back, drowning your plea in a sea of sound. The atmosphere thickened, charged with palpable energy, as doubt crept in like a thief in the night. Do you want to know the truth? The woman's voice surged from somewhere within the tempest, swirling around you, mingling with the cacophony. Step into the light. The light flickered, a desperate glimmer amidst the storm's fury, inviting yet foreboding. You held your breath, the world around you fading to a dull buzz, all senses sharpening to a pinprick focus on the apparition ahead. Do I even have a choice? You whispered, doubt scratching at your throat. The agony of indecision paralyzed you, poised on the edge of the unknown, tethered to a past that felt heavier every moment. And then, with a suddenness that set your heart racing, the sky erupted again. Flashes of lightning lanced the air, powerful enough to dazzle. For a brief heartbeat, the surroundings were illuminated. You could see them, the figures in the shadows now more defined, their faces twisted in anguished expressions. A woman, a man, a child. All appearing as if caught in an eternal scream. Time slipped away, the weight of choices pressing upon you. Instinct screamed louder than the storm, run. Run now, but your feet remained rooted in place. As the terrifying truth of their faces sunk in, an icy wave of realization crashed over you. They were warning you, desperate to shout their caution, trapped in their own decision for eternity. Suddenly, the woman materialized before you again, her eyes now filled with a frantic urgency. You must decide. Or you will join them. She motioned towards the spectral figures. Your heart thudded violently, blood rushing in your ears. You knew then that the time for indecision had passed. You could feel the intensity within you rising, consuming. But was it power you sought? Or something more? Before you could take a single step, a deafening clap of thunder shook the ground. It reverberated through your chest, rattling the very bones in your body. And amid the concussion of sound came a new voice, rumbling deeply, "The storm is awakening, the choice is more severe than you think." As the truth loomed larger, clarity blurred, and all that filled your mind was chaos, fear, and the insistent glow ahead. You were teetering over the edge of the world, where a single choice could alter everything. With a shattered breath, you took a step toward the light. But what would await you there? Would you rise, or would you fall into the abyss? The storm howled with rage, and the shadows seemed to close in tighter, daring you to cross the threshold. Just ahead, the light pulsed in promise, waiting for your next move. And as you reached out, the darkness behind you whispered, "Remember, some truths are never meant to be uncovered." What other horrors lurked in the unseen depths? The moment you crossed the threshold, everything changed. The storm's ferocity faded, replaced by an eerie stillness that enveloped you like a suffocating blanket. You found yourself in an ethereal realm, illuminated not by the blinding light of the storm but by a soft, haunting glow that felt like it was alive. The air shimmered, charged with the energy of something ancient, a pulse that matched the rapid beating of your heart. You stumbled forward, drawn by the light, yet instinctively aware of the danger that surrounded you. Shadows flickered at the edge of your vision, teasing you with shapes darting just beyond your reach. They whispered your name, a chorus of voices melding into a dissonant melody, familiar yet foreign. "Stay away!" You shouted, trying to regain control, but no sound escaped your lips, just a hollow echo. Panic clawed at your chest. The figures, those tortured souls you had glimpsed before, began to materialize in this strange sanctuary. They stood closer now, their faces contorted in silent agony. The child was weeping, and the woman looked desperate, her eyes pleading for rescue. Fear cascaded through you, nearly overwhelming. You shouldn't be here. Their voices floated toward you, soft but insistent, making your skin crawl. You have to leave. Don't let them take you too. As the shadows shifted, shapes emerged from the light. They swirled and coalesced, revealing long-forgotten expressions of despair. Each figure was draped in darkness, but as they moved toward you, glimmers of light flashed across their bodies, glimpses of memories trapped in a timeless cycle. What price had they paid for their truth? Then a powerful voice reverberated through the space. "She can only stay if she pays her toll." It boomed, slicing through the silence. It commanded attention, thrumming like a war drum. You felt the sound pulse through you, rattling your bones, as dread washed over you. "Pay?" you asked, your voice shaking, barely a whisper lost in the weight of that booming command. "What does that even mean?" In response, the child reached out, tears streaming down his face. "You must give something up," he urged, his innocence a stark contrast to the despair around him. "Something precious. We made mistakes, and now we pay." Their eyes locked onto yours, demanding recognition. They craved release from their prison, a direct line of anguish that tightened around you like a noose. The truth of their fates hammered in your chest. If you stayed, could you unravel their torment? What could you possibly give up? A drastic chill swept through your veins as the shadows closed in, your gut clenching with an instinct screaming for escape. No. You thought, you wouldn't become one of them. But where was the exit in this twisted realm? No way out, the woman muttered, her voice now a pleading croak. You can't run. The storm doesn't allow, the storm needs another soul. Join us, the figures chorused, tilting their heads in unison, desperation lacing their voices, and suddenly you understood. The storm had created a vacuum, your fear fed it, your pain was its sustenance. Mortality was not an escape, it was a currency in this realm of shadows. Heart racing, you took a step back, pulse pounding in your ears. How had you walked into such a trap? Then the light flickered, pulsing more forcefully now, as if urging you onward. But could you trust it? Could you trust the truth it offered, or would it extract a price you couldn't afford to pay? The shadows lunged, the storm's howls echoed in your head, and panic struck your core. What was your next move? Just then, everything erupted. The light burst into a million fragments, illuminating the faces around you, anguished, battered, helpless. Decide. Thundered the voice, sending shockwaves through the air. Or remain in the storm forever. Before you could even grasp the enormity of that choice, the figures leaned closer, their whispers intertwining with the cacophony. You are one of us now, you hold the storm in your heart. What would you sacrifice to escape this fate? And if you couldn't decide, what lingering horror awaited in the next storm? A deafening silence followed, punctuated only by your ragged breath. The fragments of light swirled and danced in the air, casting ghastly silhouettes against the gloomy backdrop. The faces of the lost souls flickered, mixing hope and despair, an unsettling reminder of the tales of suffering that had led them here. Pay the toll. The voice roared again, shaking you to your core. There was no escape. No retreat. You were ensnared in this shadowy world, and every heartbeat echoed the urgency of your dilemma. But what could you give? What could possibly outweigh the cost of your very soul? As you stood motionless, terror clawing at your chest, the child stepped forward, his tiny frame trembling. Please, he whispered, voice trembling like a leaf. Everyone has something to give. What about your memories? Your happiness? The whispers intensified, the wailing chorus growing louder. They thrummed in your ears, insisting, begging for your attention. They stirred something deep within, dredging up memories of laughter and warmth of forgotten childhood, sweet moments bathed in sunlight. Those moments, they weighed you down, the woman implored, stepping closer, shadows flickering around her. They will only anchor you here. Without them, you can be free. Your heart raced, images from your past racing before your eyes. Was it really worth it? The thought of giving up those cherished moments felt like slicing into your own flesh. But as the darkness closed in, it pushed you toward an agonizing realization. What was life without the baggage of pain? Wasn't freedom worth the sacrifice? Let me think. You cried out, desperation flooding your voice, but the shadows surged forward, and sudden panic rattled your mind. They reached for you, fingers brushing against your skin, cold and clammy. They wanted your anguish. Choose. The voice commanded. Only by sacrificing can you rise above. Your memories flickered in your mind, the bittersweet joy of family gatherings, laughter over shared meals, the warmth of love you once knew. Would you exchange those golden moments for the unknown? The storm howled, a reminder that time was running out. Suddenly, an idea pierced through the fog of despair. What if I could offer you my regrets instead? You proposed, feeling a surge of courage. What if I cast away the weight of guilt, the burdens that plague me? The souls paused. Light flickered, and a strange silence enveloped the realm. It hung in the air, heavy as the storm clouds closing in above. Regrets, the woman whispered, almost reverently. That is a heavy price indeed. But can you bear the weight of what you must leave behind? Every part of you trembled at the thought. The pain, the mistakes you had carried them for so long. But now, releasing them must cost you something deeper. Could you part with the part of you that lived in guilt? The thought was terrifying but perhaps also liberating. The shadows loomed closer, closing around you like a noose. They seemed to sense your hesitation, your uncertainty. Time is fleeting. The voice boomed, sending tremors through the air. Decide fast, or be forever trapped. The pressure crashed over you. Deep within, a flicker of hope ignited. What if your regrets led to growth? What if budding out of pain could herald a brighter future? But then you glanced back at the child, the tears still rolling down his ghostly cheeks, instinctively understanding. The past was a labyrinth, twisting and turning, with each choice leading to another dead end. Would you truly risk it all? Suddenly, the storm unleashed its full wrath, howling as though it echoed your inner turmoil. The whirlwind swirled, dark shadows reaching desperately toward you, pulling tighter and tighter. In that instant, you knew what must be done, but could you truly cast away everything you once were? The light flickered again, seemingly giving you one last chance to grasp your fate. With the storm raging, you broke into a run. But in this wild rush of decision, was it still too late to reclaim your freedom? Could a single choice transcend the growing darkness? As your heart raced, one question burned in your mind: would you be willing to pay the ultimate toll? And even more gripping, what price would the storm demand if you chose to turn back? The shadows surged around you like a tidal wave, closing in with suffocating intensity. Your instincts screamed at you to flee, yet every step felt like wading through thick molasses. The storm's roar intensified, echoing your internal chaos. With every heartbeat, the pressure mounted. Clouds swirled overhead, tattered and dark, churning as if nature itself was enraged. You stumbled, tripping over something unseen. Falling hard, you felt the cold seeping into your bones. Panic gripped you. Would these spirits seize the moment to drag you down with them? Make your choice. The booming voice rattled through the air, sending shivers spiraling along your spine. You can either dive into despair or rise above with sacrifice. But make it now. Desperation clawed at your throat as the child's wide eyes stared into yours, pleading for something, anything that might offer salvation. You thought about your memories, each one a beautiful thread in the fabric of your being. But mixed in were the regrets, the failures that clung like oil to your skin, sticky and suffocating. Suddenly, a flicker of light broke through the darkness, bright enough to catch your eye. It sparkled like a diamond, almost blinding. You scrambled closer, desperate to touch it, to feel anything that offered warmth amidst the cold. It danced tauntingly, just out of reach, as if it were testing your resolve. Let go. The woman urged, her voice now softer, yet filled with an unfathomable urgency. The light will envelop you if you just release your hold on what chains you here. Let go of everything. A chain snapped inside you. The weight of guilt and regret was suffocating, holding you in a relentless grip. But could you truly sever those ties? That was the struggle, the torment that filled your mind. Every cherished memory, the laughter shared, the voices of loved ones, they floated before you like ghostly wraiths in the storm. If you dared to reach for that light, what would become of all you held dear? Would they vanish? Would the shadows feast upon their echoes? A cold dread settled in your stomach. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath you. The dark figures seemed to draw back, as though the storm itself was an untamed beast weighing in on the fate of your decision. The air crackled with electricity. Flee or fight. The voice bellowed again, now changed. It twisted, almost playful. What will it be? The path to freedom, or one more dance with despair? Your heart thundered in your chest. You glanced back at the swirling shadows and the child. Was he caught in the storm? Panic rippled through you, a surge that pushed you forward. I'll let it all go. You shouted into the tempest, fierce and desperate, but then doubt slithered back in. Would it be enough? Would the spirits take more than your regrets? Would they demand the very essence of who you were, in that moment, the ground split beneath your feet. A crack opened, deep as the abyss, echoing the very fears that had plagued you all along. The winds howled, laughter ringing against the storm's fury. As the lightning split the night, a sudden realization hit. The storm, the darkness, it was all a part of the same tapestry. You had endured the shadows, but transforming the storm into light would require something new. Would you truly step into that light? The shroud of doubt spread like fog, whispering against your resolve. So you stood at the edge, everything, and nothing at once. The storm lurked behind you, with its weighty threat lingering. But before you could breathe again, the ground shuddered, and you felt the wail of something long forgotten. Are you ready to pay the price? The voice became a low murmur, almost intimate, and icy tendrils of fear slithered up your spine. What lay ahead? Was the sacrifice worth the risk? With trepidation, you took a step forward, heart racing. What would you unleash, and what would it demand in return? The abyss yawned beneath you, darkness pulsating like a living thing, daring you to plunge into its depths. A moment hung in the air, thick and heavy, as each breath felt like a weight upon your chest. The flicker of light was still there, taunting and bright. Have you ever felt so close yet so far? No, not now, not like this. Choose. The voice reverberated, a symphony of anger and mirth, swirling around you like the storm itself. It was relentless, like the ticking clock counting down to midnight, the hour of reckoning. Would stepping closer to that light save you, or was it bait, a cruel trick laid out by unseen hands? The child remained, anchored in desperation, eyes mirroring every torment you felt. That in an instinct, you inched forward, muscles tense as if every step required pushing against a tidal force. The shadows whispered, soft and seductive, weaving tales of hopelessness and regret. With every haunting whisper, the doubts echoed louder. What if you lose everything? You paused, clutching at the marble-like weight of your memories, their slipstream providing neither comfort nor clarity. Would parting with them mean losing yourself? What were you without your past? You could almost hear their ghostly whispers, reminding you of joy long lost, of laughter like a melody just out of reach. Lightning struck again, illuminating the chaos of your heart, creating a moment of clarity amidst the tempest. Yes, you needed to let go, but how? Fear intertwined with courage, creating a web that ensnared you tighter. The light flickered, an invitation and a threat, alluring yet dangerous. With each moment, you felt the storm rising, pressing around you as if to push you in one direction. The child's face morphed before your eyes, the innocent plea twisted into something grotesque, reflecting every regret you ever felt. In that second, you felt the weight of your choices. The cost was steep. Could you pay the price? Would you condemn the child forever in darkness for your own freedom? Make your choice. The voice boomed again, this time laced with urgency that clawed at you. Deliberate no longer. Time pinched like a vice, the winds howled around you as if mocking your indecision. Tears gathered in your eyes. You could almost hear the echo of laughter from those who had passed. They were in the shadows too, calling to you. Choose love or fear. They seemed to say, their voices weaving through the storm and into your soul. You looked at the flickering light again, hesitating. The ground quaked beneath you, and suddenly, adrenaline surged through your veins, a fierce resolve sparking like an ember in the darkness. With courage swelling inside you, you shouted, I choose. The words felt like a shield, defiance against the torrent surrounding you. The child was important, living, breathing hope, not just a mere reflection of your mistakes. In that split second, the world shifted. The shadows recoiled, as if recoiling from a light they feared. But the ground split wider, and the thunder roared at your resistance. Then, amid the chaos, you heard a different sound. A whisper, fragile yet powerful, poured into your heart like raindrops on thirsty earth. Join us. But that feeling, was it a command or a plea? Could you reclaim all you'd lost, or would it come at a cost you couldn't imagine? Clarity faded in the rising tide of uncertainty as shadows moved closer. Suddenly, the laughter turned sinister, a cacophony of chaotic sound. And the storm looked you in the eye, your heart raced. Are you certain this is what you want? The voice asked, calm yet dripping with tension, was it too late? As the shadows reached out, fingers clawing at your ankles, you felt another tremor beneath your feet. Would you stand and fight, or would you succumb? Drawn into the void, you felt the pull of destiny, but for whom? Helpless, you barely whispered, what now? And just like that, the light flickered one last time, plunging everything back into darkness. The darkness engulfed you, thick and suffocating. No flicker of light remained, only an endless shadow stretching beyond comprehension. Panic set in. You'd chosen, hadn't you? But what had it brought you? A shiver crept down your spine as you felt the air shift. The temperature dropped, an icy dread crawling over your skin. You stood frozen, heart hammering like a drummer in a vacant hall. And then it came. A breath, cold and rancid, right on your neck. The shadows were alive. Why did you choose? The voice slithered through the dark, smooth and soft, like silk against your skin, but with its own presence of dread. Pain twisted your gut. You could have let it go. Desperation clawed at your throat. You were fighting something far bigger than yourself. The child your choice had been for them had become a fragile thread in a fraying tapestry of choices. Where are they? You gasped. Show me. The void laughed, a sound that echoed against the very essence of your being. Are you ready to pay the price? The question laced with malice gnawed at you. It was not a simple transaction but a chasm of consequences. The shadows tightened around you, constricting, as if testing your resolve. You felt the faint pulse of something beneath those dark layers, stirring restlessly, a life, perhaps. Or something more sinister. Love or fear, the presence teased, like a mantra spinning out of control. It knew your weaknesses. You don't own me. You shouted, voice trembling. I choose the light. But in the heart of that abyss, the light felt distant, flickering mere memories of hope. The shadows hissed, a chilling response that sent razor blades of fear crackling through your veins. They pressed closer, sapping your courage as their whispers morphed into guttural snarls. Foolish choice, the darkness resonated ominously, you have awakened the cycle. Suddenly, you were swept into a swirling tempest, a tornado of dark and light merging violently around you. Images flickered through the storm, fleeting memories of laughter, of joy, now entwined with sorrow and regret. Searing heat rose in your chest, battling the cold creep of despair, sights and sounds clamored, voices overlapping in a chaotic chorus. You'll betray what you love. One shadow shrieked. You cannot escape your past. Another echoed. It became overwhelming, each accusation seeping into your soul. You were trapped in a flood of regret, a visceral tide that threatened to drown you. Then, from the chaos, a small light began to shimmer, more than just a flicker. It was the embodiment of the child's laughter, warm and pure. You reached out, desperate to grasp it as shadows closed in like wolves marking their prey. Let go of your fear. The light urged, its voice sweet and clear, a beacon in your storm. Choose love, always. The shadows shivered at the edges, as if recoiling from the possibility of light. They tightened their grip, suffocating the air around you. Enough. You roared, channels of defiance surging within. With a surge of strength, you plunged toward the light, hand outstretched. The shadows erupted with rage, thrashing violently, torn between devotion to their sinister master and the possibility of your salvation. The child's laughter rang again, clearer this time. You are not alone. In that heartbeat, you felt the connection and electrifying awareness that surged through you. With each step forward, the shadows quivered, and for a moment, you believed relief was within reach. You could change everything, but just then, an ear-splitting scream echoed through the void, sending tremors through your bones. It shattered the moment a sudden darkness imploded around you, what had once felt like hope now twisted into a maelstrom of terror. Join us. The shadows pleaded, truth mingling with seduction. Turn back. You hesitated. What if yielding meant losing everything? The conflict raged inside you as the abyss swirled and the light flickered. Each heartbeat echoed the measure of your fate, and then, in the midst of that chaotic descent, a piercing flash illuminated the churning void. Your heart pounded. As you shouted instinctively, "No. Not like this." Would courage prevail, or would the shadows claim you forever? Despair loomed, waiting. The question hung in the air, thick and heavy. What was your truth? What choice would you make now? And as silence enveloped you once more, only one stark thought pressed against your mind: what if it's all too late? The chaos roared around you like a wild animal, threatening to swallow you whole. The shadows clawed at your consciousness, wrapping around you in a suffocating grip, overwhelming you with despair and fear. And yet, within that darkness, a flicker of defiance surged. It pulsed against the tide of anxiety threatening to drown you. With every ounce of strength you could muster, you fought back against the insidious whispers. "I will not be consumed," you declared, summoning the very essence of your will. The light you had seen before glimmered at the edges of your vision, soft yet insistent, like a siren calling you home. With urgency, you pushed forward, pulling memories of warmth and love to the surface, moments of laughter, of sunshine-kissed days, and the embrace of family and friends. Each memory became a shield, a bright armor against the shadows that wished to drag you back into despair. "Choose love," echoed within you, a mantra that resonated deeply. It surged forth, lighting the path before you. "I choose love," you shouted, desperation and determination melding into a powerful declaration. As the words shattered silence, the storm answered. It roared with fury, fury against your defiance. But you felt an overwhelming sense of clarity ripple through you. In that pivotal moment, the shadows recoiled. You could see their form a merging mass of lost souls, yearning and pleading. "You should join us," they implored, their voices winding together, an anguished choir. You remembered the child, the woman, their pleas and their pain. "No. I choose my path." Every instinct screamed for you to run toward the light. With each step toward that glowing orb of warmth, the shadows pulled back, a fierce storm against your resolve. Yet the tendrils of darkness were relentless, grasping and clawing, the roar of chaos becoming a deafening heat surrounding you. Through clenched teeth, you whispered, "I will not let you take me." The realization struck like a mighty blow, the awareness that the deepest ends of despair could be defeated by a single flame of love. You felt it a pulse deep in your chest, igniting, overwhelming the dread waiting through your thoughts. The light brightened, stirring from within, radiating warmth that overcame the cold creeping down your spine. You pushed every ounce of fear outward, feeling the shadows tremble at your resolve. "Leave me!" you yelled into the void. There, in that storm of shadows, you saw the child's anguished face, a reflection of your own past regrets. "Step away," you commanded, remembering the importance of fighting for what was real and true. Then, with relentless determination, you drew nearer to the light. It pulsed, welcoming you like an embrace, whispering promises of hope. The shadows hissed violently, angry serpents retreating from a flame, their form becoming unstable in your wake. The storm raged as if to push you back, but you were grounded in the decision to choose clarity over chaos and warmth over shadows. With a final decisive step, you thrust yourself into the light, your heart racing against the thunderous roar swirling behind you. Everything shattered into brilliance, colors burst forth, releasing all that had ensnared you in darkness. Everything turned hazy and brilliant all at once as the shadows howled in impotent rage behind you. As the shimmering brightness enveloped you, a calmness flooded your being. An overwhelming sensation of weightlessness followed, a liberation from the ropes of fear and guilt that had bound you for so long, and then silence. Peace fell heavily, not like the quiet of absence but like the fullness of fulfillment and understanding. You stood in a boundless expanse of light, radiating everywhere you turned. The past, the pain, the storm all swept away. It became a haunting memory brushed off with a wave of acceptance. Ahead, a familiar face emerged, glowing with promise and joy. "The child you chose," he exclaimed, eyes sparkling with understanding. In that moment, all was clear. You had broken the cycle, transforming fear into hope, embracing love, and choosing a path Filled with light, the journey had unveiled the fears you held so tightly, but it demanded something far greater in return: an unwavering belief in the power of choice. And as the warmth surrounded you, those souls from before were freed, exuding whispers of gratitude, fading into the brilliance as you shone even brighter. You found freedom not merely in escaping shadows, but in facing them head-on, bound to a light that could not be extinguished. No longer trapped, you laughed in joy knowing you had triumphed over the turmoil, embracing the journey ahead, and it was beautiful. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this epic conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to show your support because only true fans understand the importance of these actions.